All right, fourth graders. So today we are starting Unit 7 in ELA. And the title of Unit 7 is Developing a Nation. And our essential question is, how do communities evolve? So let's think about that word community. We know that our community is a place where people live, they work, they go to school, they play. All of those things are part of our community. Different factors can cause communities to evolve or change over time. So that word evolve means change. One thing that causes communities to change over time is transportation. So how people in communities get around. Big events are another factor. So in this unit, we're going to learn about how and why communities change by reading different events and types of transportation that caused people to move from one community to another during certain time periods. All right, so let's start with the first story in your ELA packet. It's called The Open Road. And today we will read and look for the main idea and key details. So in your packet, it's this lesson. Read The Open Road and annotate key details that tell about the development of Route 66. And this word here, some people say route, some people say route. Either one is correct. So main idea and key details. And I'll give you a big hint. If you read ahead here, the apply it says what is the main idea of the passage. So it's already telling you one of these is the main idea, and then you can think about the key events as you read. So we are going to read this story together, and I'm going to use my tools here to highlight. I'm going to highlight in yellow. All right. The Open Road. The first automobiles appeared in the 1890s. Powered by an electric motor instead of horses, they were called horseless carriages. At that time, there were only 144 miles of paved roads in the nation. So think about that. In the whole nation, the nation is the country. In all of the USA, there were only 144 miles of paved roads. When people went for a drive, cars bounced along dirt tracks. Dust blew into their eyes and mud splattered their clothes. Not only were there few paved roads in those days, but there were no gas stations or road maps. The new motor cars broke down often. For this reason, people did not go far. The first cars were also extremely expensive. Few people could afford them, so there was little reason for the country to build interstate highways. For many, horse-drawn carriages or trains were still the best way to travel. Then, in 1908, Henry Ford introduced the Model T automobile. Unlike those before it, this car was affordable. Because it didn't cost much, many people bought it. So I'm going to stop for a second and think about, in this paragraph, it tells me that the first cars were extremely expensive. And I think that's important because later down here, it mentions that Henry Ford's Model T automobiles were affordable. They were not expensive. So because it didn't cost much, many people bought it. As more people owned cars, the need for paved roads, gas stations, and new maps increased. As a result, the Model T helped change transportation. So up here, it says that there were no gas stations or road maps. And so people didn't need to build real highways or real roads because not very many people had cars. But then after the Model T was made, the need for new roads, gas stations, and maps increased. All right, paragraph 4. I'm just going to change my highlighter to make it a little bigger. Oh, I have a pen. That's why it looks kind of funny. Okay, highlighter. People with cars wanted to go places. They wanted to hit the open road and explore America. However, to do so, they needed better roads. So in 1916, Congress passed the Federal Aid Road Act. It made funds available to help states build 2-lane interstate highways. Workers would build the new roads, creating new jobs. So they needed better roads. People wanted to go places and they needed better roads. Route 66 was one of the first good roads. In the 1920s, it linked small towns and big cities from Chicago to Los Angeles. So this is definitely important that that was the first time that small towns and big cities were linked. It stretched about 3,850 kilometers or 2,400 miles across 2/3 of the country. So think about that. In this first paragraph, it said that there were only 144 miles of paved roads. That's not very many. And then Route 66 was built, and it was 2/3 of the country. And we know fractions now, and we know that that's almost the whole country. It's almost one whole. Local merchants built gas stations, motels, and all-night diners beside the highway. Some built special attractions for tourists. People came to see the sights. Others drove west to California seeking a better life. Oh, sounds like the gold rush. By the 1930s, truckers began transporting goods cross-country on Route 66. Many of these travelers bought gas and food and stayed in the motels along the highway. Route 66 became the perfect open road. Today, not much is left of Route 66. Other highways are bigger and faster, but travelers can still find road signs that show where America's oldest highway once stretched. Okay, so definitely some of the key details in this passage are about how Route 66 changed the country and connected people, because remember, we're thinking how communities change. And this is a big thing here, that it linked small towns and big cities. So people all of a sudden who were not able to go from one place to another easily or quickly for the first time ever, they were able to do that. So I'm going to write here a key detail. So I think next to this paragraph, a key detail, and you can annotate this on your booklet as well, is that Route 66 was an advancement in transportation that changed society. So it changed society. It's making communities evolve and change. And it changed society because people could travel quickly and easily for the first time, and affordable, in an affordable way, right? They can never do that before. Okay, go back and look at what you think the main idea is. Do this part first. What do you think the main idea is? It's okay to write that first and then kind of work backwards and then pick out some key details. We highlighted a bunch and we wrote one important one down. So get those key details written in lesson 2. All right? Good job.